Hi, welcome to this week's Trek Tip Tuesday. So in this video, we're going to be talking about trail etiquette. So a good rule of thumb that we like to follow when we're out riding in a group is if you're riding in a line because you're on a narrow trail, you want to focus on the amount of space you have in between you and your horse. You want to allow that space to respect the rider and the horses in front of you to not cause irritation and also to avoid any collisions. So if that horse spooks or makes a sudden stop, then you're going to allow yourself to have enough time to stop your horse. So the next trail etiquette that you can do is when you're with a group of horses or if you're meeting up with some people out on the trail is to not let your horses touch noses. If you're allowing your horse to touch noses with a stranger horse, then you're just opening up the risk for a defensive or aggressive behavior from yours or the following horse that can result in kicking or biting. This also is going to limit the risk of diseases being spread as well. So this trail etiquette is a big one that we see oftentimes when you're out on group trail rides is if you're going down a hill, especially up a hill as well, you want to make sure that your horse doesn't stop. So if you're going down and your horse spooks at something or they're reluctant to go forward, and you have a bunch of horses behind you, you're going to cause a traffic jam and you can potentially make horses lose their balance, lose their footing. If you're going up a hill and you need that momentum going, then the horses behind you are going to lose that momentum. So if you know that you have a more reactive horse or a horse that's going to be going a little slower or struggling to go up, then you might want to respect the riders that you're with and take to the back of the line so that you're not causing some sort of traffic jam, whether you're going down a hill or up a hill. You absolutely just always want to keep in mind that you're keeping that momentum going and that fluency. So just because you make it up the hill and you get to the top, make sure you don't stop your horse and cause the other horses to be stopping at the bottom side. You want to make sure everybody clears that hill, whether you're going up or down, before you make any stops. So these next couple of tips are going to be what happens if you are walking out on the trail and you come across horses. I think the most important one is if you're on the ground and you have horses approaching you, is to talk. You want to talk like you're a person. You want these horses to know that you're people. The last thing you want to do is to get out of the way of the riders, thinking that you're respecting their space, and you go and hide behind a tree, or you hide behind a rock, or you squat down, or you stay really quiet, especially like these ladies here are sitting on the ground. So we had them talk to us and just make sure that these horses knew that they were people. Because what happens when you're trying to be quiet or stay out of the way or hide behind something is you're looking suspicious to the horses. So now they're going to might be a little spooky around you, not quite sure. So if you ever come across horses when you're hiking or walking through your neighborhood, talk to the rider, say hi to them, do something to make the horses know that you're a person. And the last thing you want to do is stop and hide. You want to make yourself present and just pull over to the side and let the horses pass. So if you're coming across a jogger on the trail, or if you are jogging on a trail and you come across horses, you want to make sure that if you're jogging that you walk before you get to those horses. And if you're on the horse and you're coming across a jogger and you can see that they're not stopping, it's okay to ask them, if you're on a more green or reactive horse, to ask them to walk past you. And that also goes for bicycles too. So bikes have to yield for horses. A lot of people don't know that. So if you're out on a mountain trail, especially if it's like a one-track, narrow, kind of mountainy type of trail, and you're coming across a mountain biker, ask them to pull over their bike. Or if they're not going to be pulling over their bike, whether they're wearing headphones, then you can always dismount and pull your horse off to the side of the trail, or you can just get over as far as you can and allow either the jogger or the biker to pass you. So riding along traffic is a big one. There's a lot of etiquette that we can get out of this. If you are driving a car and you're coming across horses, it is always good practice to slow down your vehicle. If you're in a neighborhood and it's safe, you can always stop, roll down your window, and ask if it's okay if you drive by, or allow those horses to pass you. If you're coming across an area on the trail that you need to pass another horse, then you want to holler out to the rider that's in front of you and then ask them if it's okay if you pass their horse. And you always want to make sure that it's good practice to do it at a walk, that you don't trot past somebody else's horse unless they explicitly say that it's okay to do so. Keeping yours and your horse and the other rider and their horse's safety in mind is always so important. So instead of just assuming, it's never a bad idea to just holler out and ask to make sure it's okay that you pass that other horse before you do it. And this brings me into the next thing. If you're starting out with a group of horses in your ride, you want to make sure that you don't just go and trot off because you feel like it, unless you ask your group and they all say it's okay. But if you're with a group of riders, especially if you don't normally ride with them, this is a brand new group, you don't want to just take your horse and then trot away from the group. You don't want to trot past the group. You don't want to go run up another hill or just take off running down the trail, because this could cause a major explosion between all of the horses that you're riding with, and it's going to make it an unenjoyable time for the other riders that you're with potentially. So that wraps up this week's Trek Tip Tuesday. Thank you for watching, and I hope these tips help just to make it an enjoyable time for you and for the riders that you're with. And if you're a ground pedestrian, then hopefully this helps navigate what do you do when you come across horses out on the trail. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.